When it comes to brutal prisons, CECOT is the final boss and takes the crown for toughest in El Salvador. Comfort and well-being do not exist in here, only dying gangs that are about to be snuffed out. I'm sure if the CECOT had a slogan to be said by inmates, those would be the exact words. This place is not just a prison, it's a black hole where gang members enter and never return. What you see before you is the Terrorism Confinement Center in El Salvador, one of the largest and most secure prisons in the world, built specifically to house the most dangerous criminals. This is where the worst of the worst, members of MS-13 and Barrio 18, are sent to disappear from society forever. There is almost no rehabilitation, no second chances. The moment they step through the doors, it's like they become part of a human mass that may never again see the outside world. This prison was created as part of President Nayib Bukel's war against gangs, a crackdown meant to wipe them out for good. CECOT is built like a fortress. Towering 9-meter-high concrete walls surround it, topped with a 15,000-volt electric fence. 19 watchtowers, armed guards, and military-grade surveillance make escape impossible. Even approaching the facility is a challenge, with multiple security checkpoints manned by heavily armed soldiers. Once inside, there's really no getting out. Security inside is just as intense. Everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean everyone, visitors, officials, even media, must go through strict body scans using X-ray machines that detect the smallest hidden objects. Military-grade signal jammers block all communications within a 2-kilometer radius. No calls, no internet, nothing gets in or out without permission. The prison has 8 massive housing units, each built to hold thousands. Every module is locked behind double security walls lined with razor wire. Cells meant for 80 inmates often hold 150, leaving prisoners with barely any room to move. Stripped down to white shorts and slippers, they sit shoulder to shoulder on the cold floor, waiting to be processed. There's no comfort here. No mattresses, no pillows, just steel bunk beds stacked 4 high. No running water in the cells. Prisoners must rely on a single blue barrel for drinking and washing. Over 100 inmates share 2 toilets and 2 sinks, forced to bathe in the same spot where they relieve themselves. Hygiene is barely maintained, and medical care is almost non-existent. Prisoners spend 23 hours a day locked up, constantly watched by guards. The prison is always brightly lit, so there's no darkness, no privacy, and nowhere to hide. They only leave their cells for court hearings or for punishment in solitary confinement, which is a small, pitch-black cell where they lose all sense of time. Meals are just enough to keep them alive. Breakfast is the same every day. Beans, rice, and a hard-boiled egg. Lunch and dinner consist of plain rice and pasta with a sugary drink. They eat with their hands, cleaning their plastic trays before returning them. Any resistance is met with brutal force. Guards patrol with rifles and batons, ready to strike at any sign of disobedience. These inmates were once the most feared criminals in El Salvador. Their bodies are covered in tattoos, with each mark telling a story of bloodshed. Some have killed so many they've lost count. One gang leader, known as Psycho, admitted to ending over 50 lives, not because he wanted to, but because he had to. Killing was part of his initiation, a requirement for power. Now, he is just another nameless prisoner in a sea of lost souls. In March 2022, Bukele declared a state of emergency and launched a massive crackdown. Over 70,000 people were arrested in months, dragged from the streets, and thrown behind bars. Salvadorans finally felt safe again. There was no more extortion, no more murders. The country's homicide rate, which was once among the world's highest, dropped dramatically. Bukele declared victory, saying criminals would never again terrorize his people, and he was true to his words. To most Salvadorans, Bukele is a hero. His approval ratings are sky high, and the majority support his tough stance. So it's a hard man to a much harder prison.